Joining me now from New York is Michael Wolff, author of The Fall, The End of the Murdoch Empire, which is published here next week. So very timely book, Michael. Thank you very much for joining us. And I mean, first of all, what, apart from his age, obviously, made you think that the end of Rupert Murdoch was this close when you brought the book out?
Well, I mean, his age is a good place to start. 92 is 92. People within the company have always said, well, he's sharp as a tack. And I say, yes, but he's 92. But on top of that, the company has many other problems. I mean, the control of the company at Murdoch's death will pass to his 4 adult children who do not agree and will not agree on the direction forward to the of the company. So that has to be sorted in some, I guess I would say existential way. But most immediately today, I understand from insiders in the company, this book of mine publishes on Tuesday, The Fall, The End of the Murdoch Dynasty, and it spends a lot of time on the effect of what it means for a 92-year-old man to be running a public company, actually to be running 2 public companies. And inside, they have characterized it as a bus coming toward him. So I think this is a way to get out of the way of the bus before it hits him on Tuesday.
Right. You mentioned the struggle going on to succeed him. He says it's going to be Lachlan in control. So has this been a succession style? Has this been a succession style squabble going on here?
Well, it is, but it's more complicated than that, because whereas in succession, Logan Roy could decide, in this situation, Rupert Murdoch cannot decide. Upon his death, the terms of the trust, which are immutable, are that his shares are divided evenly among his 4 oldest children, each who have an equal share. So there will be 4 votes, and those 4 votes will determine the direction, if any, of the company going forward. Rupert Murdoch, for the moment, with his proxy, can make his son Lachlan give him executive authority. But when Rupert Murdoch dies, he ceases to have that power. He ceases to have that proxy ceases to exist, and the 4 children will necessarily make the decision.
Can the empire survive without Rupert Murdoch, or will it be sold off, in your view?
I think it will be sold off. Certainly, substantial parts of the empire will be sold off. Certainly, the newspapers in the UK, the money-losing newspapers, actually all of the newspapers are money-losing, will be sold off. There are other parts, HarperCollins, the Wall Street Journal. These are valuable assets, which are actually more valuable if they are sold free of the newspapers. But the major issue, certainly in terms of American politics, is Fox News. And James Lachlan now runs it. James has his brother James has stated very forthrightly that he intends to take Fox News from his brother and turn it into a force for good. I could put air quotes around that.
Right.
His sister Elizabeth, meanwhile, takes the very or their sister Elizabeth takes the logical view that cable television in the U.S. is not going to become more valuable. It will only become less valuable, so they should sell it now.
Right.
So in whatever form, this adds up to a transition in which Fox News will no longer be the Fox News that has dominated American politics for 25 years.
Right. So just looking more broadly, what would you say the legacy is of Rupert Murdoch?
Well, I think Rupert Murdoch has held more power and more influence longer than anyone in our time. I mean, he is in some way, if you look at the history of the modern era, he's the man. I think, however, curiously, ironically, sadly, his reputation and his legacy become tarnished by the company that he probably had the least to do with, which is Fox News. Fox News he supported and he reaped the gargantuan profits, but it was it was created by someone else and run for the lion's share of its history by someone else. That would be Roger Ailes. And Rupert Murdoch only really has stepped in the last few years, and even then he was unable to turn it from what it essentially became the Trump network. Right. And he was helpless to change that, even though he despises Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. You say he despises Donald Trump, and you say in your book that he despises Donald Trump, but he did follow this whole idea of the fraud in the election, and that landed him in a massive lawsuit. You know, almost $1 billion lawsuit.
No, and exactly, it is the conflict at the heart of the network. Yeah. Rupert Murdoch couldn't give up the profits, the fabulous profits, which they earned off of Donald Trump. At the same time, detesting Donald Trump, and in fact, in the lawsuit that was then provoked by all this, he came to blame Donald Trump for that, and which you know actually prevented him from settling this. Was one of the things that prevented him from settling this lawsuit. He felt that to settle would be to give in to Donald Trump. I mean, it all became quite mixed up in the mind of a 92-year-old. Right.
What about here? His papers. Huge influence, political influence, you know, cultural influence, Sunday Times, Sun newspaper, and then this phone hacking scandal and the closure of the News of the World. I wonder, you know, what sort of damage that has done to his legacy when it comes to the UK.
You know, I think it's a very mixed, certainly journalistically. It is a very mixed legacy. From a media standpoint, he transformed the media business. You know, arguably, he saved the newspaper business in the UK by his move to whopping and breaking the printers' unions. At the same time, he is always been willing to tolerate a level of journalism that makes him lots of money, but is fundamentally corrupt.
Okay, we've got to leave it there. Michael, thank you very much for coming on the program. Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.